Okay, run this problem over here. We just did it by paper and pencil technique. We found a solution to the problem. And what I want to do is just go back to the Sage code. So, certainly a lot of my problems, I actually give you the Sage code for it. And it's good that if you're looking at this and paying attention to it, that you give it a try, by the way. So first thing is reset, and then I'm going to say f of x. But I'm going to do a copy paste, by the way. And I want to explain to you what I'm copying and pasting over here. This is the left-hand side of the equation. Let me go back over that with you. So the left-hand side of the equation is x raised to the power natural log of 4 plus x raised to the power natural log of 10. All right, now notice in Sage, log stands for natural log. All right, so what I want to do is I want to go to the just next page and look at this one over here, and that's going to be the right-hand side of the equation. Type that in. All right, let me go back over that, and that's right over here. Now granted, someone says, what are you going to do with that? I can make some attempt to solve the equation now using Sage. I am no expert in using Sage, though. I may not be using it to its full advantage by doing this, by the way. But I'm going to say, ask Sage, could you solve the equation where the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side for the variable x? Now what happens in Sage, it actually just spits back the same equation to me, indicating that it's having some issues with that. So what I want to use a different command called find the root. Now the problem with finding the root is you'd want to be able to look at these two graphs over here. Let me go back to it. And I'm going to do something that's not in your notes, by the way. I'm going to plot this out, PLOT, and I'm going to plot out f of x. This is a set of functions, by the way. I want to plot out f of x, and I want to plot out g of x in the same axes, by the way. Now again, I'm not sure what it's going to do. I'm going to give it no arguments other than the fact that given that 2 over there. And then what happens over here, it's going to launch something. And I got to be honest with you, I'm really not seeing where that the possible point of intersection is. So I want to kind of zoom into a region, by the way. And someone says, what region are you going to zoom into? I'm going to go back to my, my Sage code, and I'm going to set the x min to 0 and the x max to, let me go back over here to look at the graph again. Whoops, sorry about that. And I'm going to say it's happening over here somewhere. So I'm going to say I'm just going to say 0.1. All right, I know it's not there, by the way. So let me go back to my thing and say 0.1 over here, 0.1. And I want to see what it looks like. Now granted, I'm seeing something, I'm really looking at this thing over here, and I'm going to say maybe over here somewhere, but I'm not really sure where that is, by the way. All right, so let me zoom out a little bit. Let me keep going around with that. It's going to play around a little bit more. And let me just maybe zoom out a little bit. And I'm going to say x min is 0, x max is 5. Let's see what happens there. Let's see what I got over here. Oh, you know what? I made a mistake somewhere. Let's see what I did. Oh, I see. I misspelled something. It's going to happen to you when you're using software. All right. You know what? Over here, I guess I'm looking at something over here. It looks like they are intersecting over here. And I'm going to say it looks like it's intersecting somewhere close to 0 at that point. But if you thought about it, let me go back to thinking about that. It can't be 0, can it? I'm sorry, it is 0. I know that. I know it's 0. I know the intersect there. That was pretty obvious, by the way. But it's the other value, and I'm starting to look at this now, and I'm starting to think it's happening somewhere between 1 and 2 now, all right? But there is an intersection close to 0, by the way, looking at the picture. But there's one over here between 1 and 2. So I'm going to close these out. I'm going to go back to my Sage application and type in 1 and 2 now. So 1 and x max to be 2. And let's see how good this is. And I'm definitely seeing it, by the way. I'm seeing a point of intersection over here. And what's that going to be? Looking at it, I don't know, I'm going to say about 1.7. All right? Now, let me just clear the screen out. I had some errors there before. And I want to go back to the Sage code. And I want to talk about this function over here. And this is find root. And I want to find the root between 1 and 2. Now, I realize you're saying, why using 1 and 2? They're easy for me to type in. Right, and I know they're between 1 and 2 now. So let me do that now. And what's going to happen now is it's going to try to find a root between those. And within Sage's precision, I'm not sure what technique they're using, they found a root to that problem. And they're saying it's that number there. Now, what number did we find? All right, I want to point out we found this pretty complicated problem over here. I'm going to type that in for you. Now, when I do that, I want to tell you what I just typed in. I typed in this over here. X is e to the power. And what's that power? You know, it's a fraction. It's a natural log of 1 plus root 5 minus the natural log of 2 divided by natural log of 5 minus the natural log of 2. I want to display a, though. And if I do that, someone says, I wonder what that looks like. And it doesn't look like what I want it to look like, so I need to approximate it. So I'm going to say A and use that dot N notation now. All right? And what's that going to do? Approximate it. Now, when I look at this number over here, it should be the same as this number over here. However, it's not the same. But within a level of precision, it is the same. And that's what I'm kind of looking for. Within a level of precision, it's the same. But again, this is the exact answer to the question, what's this over here? It's me approximating that number. Now, if you want, you can do this over here, f of A. And I'm going to approximate that now. And it equals that number there. And then g of that number. And approximate that now. You might say this is overkill. They should be the same number, by the way. And indeed, they're the same number. Now, if I do a Boolean, and I want to point out there's trouble with this over here. If I do f of A and ask it, is it the same thing as g of A? Let's see what Sage can do. And by the way, it says it's false. It's not false. I don't know why Sage is not able to do it, by the way. But f of A, if they actually did the computation and simplified it, they'd get the same thing as g of A if they did the computation and simplified it. All right? Again, my ability to use Sage is somewhat hampered. I really don't know the software that well. We're just trying to introduce you to using it sort of like as a calculator at this point. And again, there's a lot to learn about Sage. And I do recommend that if you're thinking about moving forward in mathematics, that you learn a computer algebra system. Again, thank you for paying attention.